Thank you. So again, pleasant evening, everybody, and a special welcome to those who are joining us in the virtual space. If you're joining us for the very first time, welcome to the conversation. We do have this and every Tuesday evening at around this time, and we give God thanks for those of us in the house. We trust that as we dialogue this evening, we will leave here better informed, more equipped with the word, better able to understand, what it means to be misunderstood, to understand the whole issue of misconception. And so we want to get right into the word. And so it's Tuesday, it's the 16th day of August 2022. We've always been here every Tuesday. And so today we're talking about misconception. And our broad theme is when you are misunderstood. And I'm quite certain that all of us at some point in our life or the other, we are or were misunderstood. And not only that we are and have been misunderstood, but perhaps we ourselves may have misunderstood, what others have said, what others have done. And so it's very crucial, how we deal with the issue of misconception, of misunderstanding. And so the objective for the conversation this evening is the objective of this conversation is to demonstrate from a biblical perspective ways and means of how to handle misconception / misunderstanding, misinterpretation, or fallacy, all of which represent the same word. So the objective of the conversation this evening is to demonstrate from the Bible, is to demonstrate from a biblical perspective, the ways and the means of how to handle misconception, misunderstanding, misinterpretation, and or fallacy. So we want to welcome those who have joined us in the virtual space, whether you are on the YouTube channel. So if you're on the YouTube channel, we're not going to, be in a position to say your name, to say who you are. But you know yourselves, and we really appreciate, your presence. And for those on the Facebook page, we're seeing names like Inez Watson, Pleasant Night Inez, and we're seeing names like Dwight Perry, the other names that I'm not seeing now, but pleasant evening to you all, and welcome to the conversation. As usual, we ask that you leave your comments, you like the page. Most importantly, we ask that you share, let somebody else know that we're streaming live this Tuesday evening. If you're on the YouTube channel, we're asking you to, subscribe to the channel. Let somebody else know that we're in the space, that we're streaming live, and that we're having a conversation as it relates to misunderstanding, as it relates to misconception, as it relates to misinterpretation, among others. So I take it that we're all ready to go, are we? So it's time to get into the word. Now, when you hear the word misunderstanding, miscommunication, misconception rather, misinterpretation, a lot of things come to mind. And I'm going to provide you with, some definition, of the word misunderstanding. So I have a few questions, just two questions that I'd love to, pose to us this evening. And the question number one asks, how does it make you feel when you have been misunderstood, and especially by those whom ought to have known better? How does it make you feel when you have been misunderstood, and especially by those whom ought to have known better? The end of the program or during the course, we'll seek to answer. And the next question asks, based on someone's misconception of who you are as a person or the views you have articulated, you have been criticized, ridiculed, rejected, looked down on, or wrongfully accused on the basis of sheer fallacy. How does that make you feel? And has it ever happened to you? Somebody just look at you and just judge you. In their own mind, they come up with, a person whom they think you are, when you are not that kind of person. Or you may have expressed something, you have said something, and based on what you have articulated, somebody may hear and walk away with the perception of you. So we want to deal with that this evening. So we want to use as our key text, well, we have two actually. We want to look at Romans chapter 14 and verse 10 from the NLT. And we also want to look at St. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 12 from the NLT. And again, we just want to welcome those who have just joined us in the conversation. We're just beginning. You've missed nothing, and so you came in at the right time. So the key text, Romans chapter 14 and verse 10, and our reading is from the new NLT, New Living Translation. And the reading goes, why do you pass judgment on your brother? Or you, why do you despise your brother? For we will all stand before the judgment seat of God. Let me read it one more time. Romans 14:10. Why do you pass judgment on your brother? Or you, why do you despise your brother? For we will all stand before the judgment seat of God. And our second reading, St. Matthew chapter 7 and verse 12 from the NLT. St. Matthew chapter 7 and the verse number 12. And it reads, do to others whatever you would like them do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and the prophets. Let me read again. Do to others whatever you would like them do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and the prophet. So let's have a quick look at what Paul referenced in Romans chapter 14 rather, and the verse number 10, when he says, why do you pass judgment on your brother? Have you ever been judged wrongfully? Anybody? Yes. And how does it make you feel? Very bad. You know, somebody, especially if, especially those who are judging you, really don't know you. You know, they may see, they may hear, somebody may tell them something, Tony, and they don't know you. But based on what, you know, they are told, you know, it allows them to form an opinion of you. And sometimes the opinion formed is not even a good one. But there was a situation where Paul wrote to the church at Rome, deed of God. And everybody would have to give an account for their stewardship, you know, the deeds done in the body, the lifestyle lived, you know, the time spent on earth, whether it was spent productive or it was spent otherwise being judgmental or being busybody, you know. And Jesus himself, you know, spoke while he was on earth. And listen to what he said clearly. Do to others. Do to others. Do to others whatever you like them do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and in the prophets. Quite certain everybody would like to be treated well. But here Jesus says, in other words, he was saying, let's treat peace of treatment. How do we want people to treat us well, royally? But we don't do that. That's what Jesus was talking about. And so here Jesus says, do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught by the law and the prophet. So welcome to those who've just joined us. We're talking about when you are misunderstood. We're talking about misconception. And the Oxford Dictionary defines misconception to mean a view or opinion that is incorrect because based on faulty thinking or understanding. Misconception, according to the Oxford Dictionary, indicates that it defines rather, the Oxford Dictionary rather defines misconception as a view or opinion that is incorrect rather. A view or opinion that is incorrect because based on faulty thinking or understanding. Now, there are some synonyms for misconception according to the Oxford Dictionary. So, other words that could be used instead of misconception are words such as misapprehension, mistake, misunderstanding, error, mixed up, misinterpretation, fallacies, miscalculation, the wrong idea, delusion, or misbelief. So we're talking about when you are misunderstood. We're talking about somebody looked at you at work, at school, at church, at home, at play, and just judge you just by one look, perhaps what you're wearing, maybe something that you've said, maybe the person you're standing or you're sitting with, and so somebody may come up with faulty thinking or understanding or an incorrect opinion of you or what you represent. So the question is asked, how do we deal with misunderstanding from a biblical perspective? If I am being misunderstood or somebody misrepresented what I say, or there's a mistake, misapprehension, an error, wrong idea from a biblical perspective, you may give away your right because you become emotional. You may say something or do something, that you ought not to have said or done. I learned a parable many years ago that says, let sleeping dogs lie. Sometimes we cannot win at all costs. And so someone may have a misconception of us. I don't believe it is in all circumstances we must go out of the way to demonstrate to the individual that this is not me, this is not my style, this is not who I am. Sometimes you have to just shake your head and walk away. Has anybody else ever told a lie on you? Look, anybody ever lie on you? Anybody ever lie on you, Tony? Can you know anybody else ever lied on you? How you deal with it? You shake your head. You laugh. Sometimes you cry too. Anybody? Because you have some lie when they are told. The only thing you can do about it is cry. And sometimes even in crying, nobody's not going to believe you too. So all you do is bawl, You just cry. And then if you cry, they're going to say, boy, you're wicked. You see them, wicked. Imagine he did the thing, she did the thing, and on top of it, him a ball. Those who are not Jamaican and don't understand our Creole, ball, B-W-A-L, it means to cry. So there are some lies. It's not all the lies we're going to put ourselves out of the way to defend. Time will tell. Truth as a way of coming out. The truth at all times has a way of coming out. A lady once told me, she said, Mr. Mitchell, my mother told me that retribution no longer comes on a handcart. It comes via airplane. Handcart is something where you push, the little thing where you push moves very slowly. So over time, the truth will comes out. And I have learned that. So can I say to somebody this evening who, you may be lied upon. People see you standing up at a spot and judge you, Tony. Most women in my weight pan. People see a female standing at a spot and judge them. Things are must something she up to. Why she stand up right here? I bet there's some man. Can you imagine, Sister Carol, you take time out to say, you're going up to Devon House to have ice cream by yourself. You're going to treat yourself by yourself. And somebody from Shooters Hill, you know what I mean? Maybe a couple, maybe some persons, see you walking into Shooters Hill, into Devon House. They may hide, just to see, but want to say, oh, she'll meet up here today. You know what I mean? When God knows, Sister Carol, you just gone there to have ice cream by yourself, to treat yourself. But somebody sees, and maybe somebody from the church, and judge you. Take out their phone. Guess and tell me who up at Devon House. Sister Carol. And then the conversation make, so I wonder what Sister Carol, she at Devon House. Look and see if you see who she had meet up there. Oh my God. Sister Carol had no intention of going to Devon House to meet anybody. She just want to have, some me time. And she decides she's going there to have. What's your favorite ice cream, Sister Carol? Pistachio. And she wants, so she wants she going to have, 2 scoop of Devon House. Give her a pistachio and a cookie and cream. And then some boy, somebody share meat. That's how people are. And it's sad that even within the church, we have that kind of misconception. When you are misunderstood, even within the church, you have, so, Kelly and I, we were at Hilton. Kelly is online, so she can type and tell me. Kelly and I were at Hilton in Montego Bay. It's not this year, it's perhaps sometime last year. And I was walking, I don't know, we were going up to the front. But Kelly was a little behind me, a little pace behind me. And I saw somebody from the church. I saw somebody, not shooters, but somebody from the church. And when the person saw me, the person was excited and light, the face light. And then immediately behind me, there was a young girl. And so she was walking so close to me, Tony, it would appear as if the girl and I were there together. And the smile moved from the person's face to a frown. Her face, I said, oh my God. The person, from a smile to a frown to the brow was knitted and this stare. And then here comes Kelly walking up now. And you could see the person was relaxed. Florence is online. I saw her earlier. And Florence has taught us. You remember Florence? From my cousin, she's in Orlando. When she taught us about pain and how you can know if somebody has tension because the shoulder is up. And so I looked and I saw when the person's shoulder just came down. Relax. Because in her mind, the fact that I was seen and I was walking and there was this young lady who was on my shoulder. Right, I don't know. Maybe I can about my business, check about her business. But I was moving ahead of, Kelly. Perhaps we're going to register for, book an appointment for some restaurant tonight. And I'm saying to myself, if Kelly didn't show up, you know what happened, Tony? If Kelly was not Kenor, I would have gone viral. Some telephone would have been pulled out to say, oh, no, me say Hilton. Now, Dion, and him have one woman with him, and it's not his wife, So I'm saying, if the next time you see a church brother, a church sister, or anybody for that matter, and you see a male or a female, or you see them anywhere, it's none of your business. It's none of my business. It's none of our business. That's a problem with the church. We mind people's business so much, and we want to spoil. So we want to talk about being judgmental, misconception. I think I did tell Kelly. Kelly can type in and start through, because she was there and I shared it with her. How many times have I been places? How many times have you been places? All unconcerned about what you have been judged about. Not true? Been judged, If you go Devon House by yourself, somebody can have a problem with it. Anywhere at all you go. Anywhere. If you go buy tracks and records, and you decide to go and just sit around like a bar, watch a TV, somebody's going to have a problem. Somebody may see it and say, you know how much time I alone got tracks and records? It's my place, and there's me hang out. You know how many times me alone go there? And if somebody sees me walking the tracks and record, the more I hide and say, no man, him alone now come. Of course, all the time me alone go. So we cannot see people doing things, going places, and judge them. It's not right. So misconception, the synonyms are mistakes, misunderstanding, error, mix-up, misinterpretation, fallacies, miscalculation, the wrong idea. Now, how many of you are going through a time of being misunderstood, of having your motives misjudged and your actions misinterpreted, of experiencing something that you meant to be taken one way, been taken in quite a different direction? You see, I don't come here to beat up the church, you know. And perhaps some people think I live from the church. No. I'm just trying to have a conversation to say we have to change our attitude. And some of our attitude, we're driving people out of the church. We have to stop. It would appear to me that there are some people, and I find myself keep saying it, that there are some people, it would appear as if they are on a campaign to get people out of the church. All they see is you and whatever errors in their opinion they think you make. Sister Carol, the way our church people watch church people, they're better than Archive. And Archive is at top security. They're better than King Alarm and Marksman and Guardsman. If we, the church, would do more evangelism than how we judge, than how we do other things, the church will be filled to its capacity. If we as a church would pray more, read the word, develop a relationship with God, then we would have been in the driver's seat ready for the trump of God to be sounded. But I find that we don't often do that. We beat up each other. I'm not the enemy, no. And you're not the enemy, no. My duty and your duty is to help you, and you help me, and we help each other to make it into the kingdom. Not to badmouth you out. Not to watch you and criticize. You know? Well, I may tell you. Anyway. So, there's an article that is called Judging Others. You'd be judged. And it reads, opportunities for judging others are readily available. Everybody agrees with that? Opportunities for judging others are readily available. A summon for jury duty expects us to impartially judge the culpability of an individual. During an election, we judge by comparison each candidate's integrity. Televised court cases entertain while allowing the viewers to judge the defendant or the wisdom of the judge's verdict. Pronouncing judgment upon others seem to be a human nature. Our fondness of judging others extends far beyond legal or civic matter. People are especially good at speaking out against all kinds of things they find offensive. Sadly, their focus may center on the person instead of the action. Jesus knew humans would struggle with judging, and he contained a stern warning in his word. Listen to what he says, and I quote, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured to you." Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eyes and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? And I'm reading Matthew 7, 1 to 5. Can you say to your brother, let me take this speck out of your eyes, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? I like Jesus. And Jesus was very, very radical. And as leaders, we have to be radical. Hear what Jesus says. "You hypocrite." To whom was he speaking? The religious leaders, the church leaders, the scribe, the Pharisees, the Sadducees. "You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck where you work, kind of house you live in, how you carry your old deportment." People just judge and judge and judge and judge. And some of those who are chief magistrates, who are, judging other people, Jesus referred to them as hypocrites. Why? Because Jesus says, the person whom you are casting this aspersion or the judgment on has a speck of sawdust. You know what a speck of sawdust look like? A speck. But the person who is, passing down the judgment has a plank in their eye. Yet, they are so good with the plank in their eyes, I don't know how them do it. They still hear some pick of a sawdust in your eye. Jesus says that kind of attitude is very, very hypocritical. And, why do I have these conversations? I have these conversations because, the church is mature. We're all mature people. These are issues that should have long put behind us. But you'll find that, we still struggle, with these little things, misconception. If somebody see me with a woman, let's say for argument's sake, across the road. So our pastor, him alone, stand up over there saying, "I dark, I do with that girl." I saw them all saying, "I'm lucky." Therefore, I really don't entertain. I really want a girl in my space. Understand me? Because people just all look and judge you. Especially them look a young girl. I really want them around me in a Tony. I feel very uncomfortable. I feel very, you hear me, very, very uncomfortable. Look at young girls, look at youngsters, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. No, I really want them so close up in my space because people think they just bungle up everybody, You understand me? I feel very uncomfortable to be standing up, talking to a 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old alone. Lucky, I am very uncomfortable. Kelly B can tell, I tell her all the time. Very, 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 very uncomfortable because of the misconception. You know, I tell Kelly B this. Kelly B know I'm talking. You know, once, I came up early one Tuesday evening for Bible study. And I parked right there. Kenway Park, that's me parked right there. And I thought, I'm not sure, may have bought something and I was eating in the car. And a youngster from the community was walking past. So I reclined the seat and sit down there, have some food. And a little young girl come and she violated me. She violated my space. What she did, she came and she pushed her head and half her body in her car. Me jump out, Me jump out of the car, Tony. Immediately, me jump out, You know why? I cannot afford for anybody to drive past or walk past and see a little young girl, 3/4, half hour. The only thing left here is her whole body for coming in the car. We half our body inside the car. With me, I jump. I'm frightened. I tell you about it? No. I jump out of the car immediately. Why? Not because I was doing anything wrong, but because of the perception. Someone else say, wait, Pastor, you see me look a young girl with half her body now? No, I don't want that. Understand me? I'm saying, and brothers, and even sisters, brothers, you have to also be mindful, Because, you might not be doing anything out of order, but the perception, and when people get a perception, the perception gain momentum, and people go and run with it. You understand me? Nobody's going to verify, And what the young lady, what is really, she was seeking some assistance. But I just think she went about it the very wrong way. You can't put half of your body in a car and me, big man, sit down inside the car. So you force me now to jump out, stand up out the door, and talk to you because of the perception. Because, and pastors, them have bad name. Some say pastor, them are gallis, and pastor, them are this and that, and people don't judge pastor. And thank God I have a very good reputation as far as I'm concerned in the community. I mean, I make no misconception. No, like a young girl, I have no interest in her. Come and spoil it. Because when I speak to young girls and youngsters, young men and women, it's cool I talk to them about, and education and all them things, Young girls talk about phone. Me use phone, I don't talk about phone. You understand me, kid? I was driving out of Marvelly, Driving out of Marvelly, And I got to the stoplight. The stoplight turned on red. It's on red. And two little young girl, Tony, then don't even look no more than 14. And I sit down in the car with my brother Anthony. And the two little young girls see me. And them tell me something. If you're a big man, I never know, say, I'll blush, they still left in me. Me blush. So, me feel bad. I was humiliated. Then tell me something. What they will do with me and what they will not do with me. And what they will not do. And me just stare stuff. I can't believe me freeze. I'm in the street, I know the street like the back of my hand, I tell people say I have a PhD if you're out the road. I am an in the street pastor. I'm an in the street person. And the little girl and tell me something. And when me not take them on, what kind of word them call me? You must say, homosexual, but the Jamaican term. Go ahead. Homosexual, but the Jamaican term. That boy them are, because, they're not going to send me to prison, and they're not going to allow me to lose my salvation. And can you imagine somebody see me now? So me now got enticed with what they are saying. Pull over. The wrong person pass and see me. You know what I mean? Last thing. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and a church sister's on the phone. And I drove in a particular community, right? And a young lady, remember I talk on the phone, and the phone on speaker. I'm alone in the car. So I went to look for a brethren and I kind of pulled down the window. Kind of inner city community, so you can't go in there with the window wind up and so on. And asked the brethren, then this lady come up to the window and said, "Me know you, you know. Me know you from. Where me know you from? Me know you, man. Me know you. How me know you from?" And I say, "Oh, you know me from over there." So I say, me tell her which I'm work because I was about 2 streets from where I work. I say, "Over there, man, East Street." "Oh, you know how long me want, yo?" Now, she mash up my meds. Because me not expect no woman I gotta come up and tell me what she want to do with me. And I have to say, yo, someone up on the phone, I mean, it's a kind of world. Now, obviously she has a reputation. Can you imagine now this particular community that I drove in? And me park up in the community with that lady I push her head in, or even come inside the car. She has a reputation. Everybody knows what her line of business is. And then a virgin on the side, I say, "Yo, elder, a joke here, a joke, man, you know she want to carry around, it's like whatever." I say, "Boy, because Satan wicked to me." An idea, So I'm saying, so what if I had parked up on the street and she come in the car? Everybody knows she has a reputation. What is going to happen? People are now going to judge me on the basis of this lady that was in the car and so on and so on. But thank God I drove away with my sanity and my dignity. Even though some people say, I'm soft, man. Why better be soft? Not true. What do you say? It better be this soft. Anyway, now, there's this brethren called Ray Stedman. And he writes for Authentic Christian. And he said something like this: when you are misunderstood about something. And this is what he says. "Yeah, Marlene, the girl violate me wicked, man. She violate." This is what Ray Stedman says. When you are misunderstood about something, somebody misjudges you, the first thing you have to ask yourself as a Christian is there anything about this that God condemns? Have I really done anything wrong? Does my conscience bother me about any part of this? If it does, then your first step, of course, has got to be to confess that, to acknowledge it and admit that you have done something wrong. There are many elements about the situation you're facing that you feel justified in, but there may be parts of it, at least, where you did something wrong. You may have lost your temper. Anybody has ever lost their temper? You may have said some cruel or unkind things, and you may have retaliated against someone. If that is the case, then that is where you have to start. You have to have bees. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, I play domino Saturday night on bees bite me first time on my hand middle, but I never know it's so hot. It left one little something and then I have to pull it out. I'm very sorry. Thanks, Sister Coral, because I couldn't Saturday night in my hand middle and the bees come from my hand. I could have never managed that. If that is the case, then that is where you have to start. You have to have a clear conscience before you can go on. Much of the strife between people comes from their unwillingness to clear their conscience at the very beginning. I'm going to be talking about that later. Now, here Ray Stedman says, we shouldn't let things lie unsettled. And this is what he says. Everywhere in the Word of God, we are taught that as Christians, we must not let things lie unsettled. Everywhere in the Word of God, everywhere in the Word of God, we are taught that as Christians, we must not let things lie unsettled. If we are upset about something, or we feel someone is upset at us, then we have to do something about it. That is what Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount. Clear relationships and tremendously important. When they are neglected, strife, division, hurt, and pain in a church are the result. And this is what Jesus says. This is what Jesus says. So, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, Jesus says, leave your gift there before the altar and go. First, be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer your gift. Have you ever done that? There's so many times I can't speak for you tonight, but perhaps as a full human being, you may have done it. That you know that somebody has something against you. You know that people are speaking ill about you. You know that there's some issue somewhere. But we don't first go and deal with the matter. Instead, we come, we make our presentation like tonight, or we preach, or we teach on a Sabbath, or we sing, and whatever we do, without dealing with the issue. But here Jesus says, if I or you, right, bring our gift before the Lord, and we remember, we what? Remember that a brother, a sister, a friend, a colleague, somebody has something against us. The King James refers to it as ought, O-U-G-H-T. Jesus says, leave your gift there before the altar and go first, be reconciled to your brother, and then come and offer the gift. So as Ray Stedman says, we shouldn't let things lie unsettled. If there is an issue and it is not dealt with, it is going to fester. It is going to move from a stick in the finger or a small cut into a big sore. So Ray Stedman says, as Christians, we should not let things lie unsettled. But Jesus put it another way. If you know your brother has something against you, leave the gift at the altar, reconcile with the brother, and come again. How often do we practice that? Do we do that? I'm not asking to answer. I'm just saying, I just want you to consider it, you know. Jolly Notes says, being misunderstood thoughts. And listen to what they say. They say, feeling misunderstood can be extremely painful and frustrating. You must can contend with that, not true? Have you ever been misunderstood and it leaves a feeling of frustration and painful? Feeling misunderstood can be extremely painful and frustrating. Perhaps you had good intentions at heart and meant no harm, but somehow your words and actions have been misunderstood, misaligned, or even completely distorted. Your motives have been misjudged and your actions are misinterpreted. It never happened to you. You had good intention and somebody just misunderstood what you're trying to do, what you're trying to say, right? And then it gives this extreme feeling. Jolly Note says, painful and